Hello and welcome to my channel. This video is the second part of the questions and answer series on Special Marriage Act 1954, Sections 6 and 7. So let's begin. Our first question is on discuss the ground for divorce under the Section 27 of the Special Marriage Act 1954. What are the specific conditions that must be met for a divorce petition to be granted? Illustrate the application of these grounds with the relevant case laws. Grounds for divorce under Section 27. Section 27 of the Special Marriage Act 1954 outlines various grounds on which either spouse can file a petition for divorce. The grounds are designed to cover a range of situations where continuing the marriage would be untenable. Here, a detailed explanation of each ground. Ground for divorce. First one is adultery. Condition: the respondent has, after the solemnization of the marriage, engaged in voluntarily sexual intercourse with any person other than their spouse. Explanation: adultery is a ground for divorce as it breaches the marital bond of the fidelity. The petitioner must provide evidence of the respondent's extramarital sexual relations. Next one is desertion. Condition: the respondent has deserted the petitioner for a continuous period of not less than 2 years immediately preceding the presentation of the petition. Explanation: desertion refers to the voluntary abandonment of the spouse without a reasonable cause or consent. Continuous absence for 2 years constitutes ground for divorce. Imprisonment. Condition: the respondent is undergoing a sentence of imprisonment for 7 years or more for an offence as defined in the Indian Penal Code. Explanation: long-term imprisonment impacts the ability to maintain a marital relationship, providing ground for divorce. Next one is cruelty. Condition: the respondent has treated the petitioner with cruelty since the solemnization of the marriage. Explanation: cruelty includes physical or mental abuse that makes it unreasonable for the petitioner to continue living with the respondent. Unsound mind or mental disorder. Condition: the respondent is incurably of unsound mind or suffering from a mental disorder to such an extent that the petitioner cannot reasonably be expected to live with them. Explanation: mental disorders includes conditions such as schizophrenia and psychopathic disorders that impair the respondent's ability to function in a marriage. The petitioner must prove that the mental condition is serious and persistent. Explanation of these terms. First one is the mental disorders. It includes mental illness, incomplete development of the mind, and other serious mental impairments. Psychopathic disorder, persistent mental conditions resulting in aggressive or irresponsible conduct. Next one is the venereal disease condition. The respondent has been suffering from a communicable form of venereal disease. Explanation: a communicable venereal disease impacts the health and safety of the spouse, providing ground for the divorce. Leprosy. This ground is omitted from 1976. Next one is the presumption of the date condition. The respondent has not been heard of being alive for a period of 7 years or more by those who would naturally have heard of them if they were alive. Explanation: this ground is based on the legal presumption of death after a prolonged absence, making it reasonable to seek a divorce. Case laws. Srimati H.S. versus Srimati P.S. 1975. Fact of this case dealt with a petition for divorce on the ground of cruelty. Judgment: the Supreme Court held that repeated acts of the physical and mental cruelty were sufficient ground for divorce under Section 27, subsection D. The court emphasized that the cruelty must be such that it makes cohabitation intolerable. Next case is Srimati M.S. versus R.S. 1980. Fact of this case involved a petition for divorce on the ground of desertion. Judgment: the court confirmed that continuous desertion for more than 2 years constituted ground for divorce under Section 27, subsection B. The judgment reinforced that desertion must be intentional and without reasonable cause. Our next question is: explain the procedure for obtaining a divorce by mutual consent under Section 28 of the Special Marriage Act 1954. What conditions must be fulfilled for the court to grant such a divorce? Provide relevant case law to illustrate the application of these provisions. Procedure for divorce by mutual consent under Section 28. Section 28 of the Indian Special Marriage Act 1954 provides a procedure for obtaining a divorce by mutual consent. This provision allows both spouses to jointly petition the court for divorce if they agree to dissolve their marriage. Here's a detailed explanation of the process and the conditions that must be met. Conditions for the filing a petition. Joint petition. Condition: a petition for divorce by mutual consent may be filed by the both parties together. Requirements for the same: first one is the separation. The parties must have been living separately for a period of 1 year or more. Next one is the inability to live together. They must not have been able to live together as a husband and wife. Next one is the mutual agreement. Both parties must have mutually agreed that the marriage should be dissolved. Procedure post petition, motion and court procedures. Timing for motion. After the petition is filed, both parties can move the court for a decree of the divorce not earlier than 6 months and not later than 18 months from the date of the petition. Explanation: this waiting period provides a cooling off period to ensure that the decision to divorce is well considered and final. Court's role: hearing and inquiry. The district court will conduct a hearing and make an inquiry to verify the facts stated in the petition. Next one is satisfaction of the conditions. The court must be satisfied that the marriage was solemnized under the Special Marriage Act 1954 and that the statements made in the petition are true. Next one is the decree of divorce. If these conditions are met and the petition is not withdrawn, the court will pass a decree declaring the marriage dissolved, effective from the date of the decree. Case laws: Gurbakh Singh versus Harminder Kaur. Fact of this case involved a petition for divorce by mutual consent where the parties had been living separately for over a year and had mutually agreed to dissolve their marriage. Judgment: the Supreme Court emphasized the importance of mutual consent and the necessity for the court to ensure that both parties genuinely agreed to the dissolution of the marriage. The court upheld the decree of the divorce granted by the lower court, highlighting the compliance with the statutory conditions under Section 28. Next case is Srimati S.M. versus N.R.P. Facts: in this case, the petitioner sought a divorce by mutual consent but faced challenges due to the timing of their motion. Judgment: the court clarified that the motion for a decree could not only be made between 6 months and 18 months from the filing date of the petition. The court stressed the need to adhere to this time frame and the requirement for both parties to prove that they have been living separately and have agreed on the divorce. The judgment affirmed that proper procedural compliance was essential for granting the divorce. Our next question is on the discussion: the restriction on filing a petition for divorce within the first year of marriage Under Section 29 of the Special Marriage Act 1954, what are the conditions under which the court may allow a divorce petition to be presented before the expiration of the 1 year? Provide case law to illustrate the application of these provisions. Restriction on filing a petition for divorce within the first year. Section 29 of the Special Marriage Act 1954 imposes specific restriction on filing the divorce within the first year of marriage. These provisions aim to provide a cooling off period for newly married couples and to prevent hasty decisions. Here, detailed explanation of the restrictions and the conditions under which an early petition may be allowed. General restrictions. Conditions for the same. A petition for divorce cannot be presented to the district court unless 1 year has passed since the marriage was registered in the marriage certificate book. Purpose. This restriction provides a mandatory waiting period to encourage reconciliation and to prevent premature dissolution of the marriage. Exceptions to the general restriction. Exceptional hardship or depravity. Condition. The district court may permit a petition to be presented before the 1 year period if the petitioner demonstrates exceptional hardship or if the respondent has exhibited exceptional depravity. Explanation. This provision allows for flexibility in cases where immediate relief is necessary due to the severe circumstances affecting one party. Misrepresentation or concealment. Condition. If the petitioner obtained permission to file the petition before the 1 year period through misrepresentation or concealment, the court may grant a decree of divorce, but it will not take effect until after the 1 year period from the date of the marriage. Alternatively, the court may dismiss the petition, allowing for a new petition to be filed after the 1 year period on the same or similar grounds. Explanation. This safeguard ensures that the petitioner does not benefit from misleading the court. Next one is the consideration by the court. Interest of the children. The court must consider the interest of any children of the marriage when deciding on an application for leave to present a divorce petition before the 1 year period. Probability of reconciliation. The court will also evaluate whether there is a reasonable probability of reconciliation between the parties before the expiration of the 1 year period. Case laws. Srimati KP versus RP. Fact of this case involved a petition for divorce presented within the first year of the marriage, where the petitioner sought an exception on ground of exceptional hardship. Judgment. The Supreme Court emphasized the need for compelling evidence of the exceptional hardship or exceptional depravity to justify an early petition. The court upheld the lower court decision to grant the petition based on the demonstrated severe circumstances affecting the petitioner. Next case, RK versus SK 1993. Fact of this case, the petitioner had sought to file for divorce within the 1 year period but was found to have misrepresented the nature of the case to the court. Judgment. The court ruled that the decree would not take effect until after the 1 year period. In accordance with the Section 29 subsection 1, the case underscored the importance of the honest disclosure in divorce proceedings and the court discretion to dismiss petitions based on misrepresentation. This is the end of this part. If you like this video, then please subscribe and hit the like button. If you have any suggestions, then please tell me in the comment. Thank you.